Jimmie Walker. You won't believe what happened next. A TV icon who made a nation laugh finally opened up at 78. And what he said rewrites the story we thought we knew. Born in the Bronx in 1947, James Carter Jimmie Walker Jr. grew up in tight quarters, tighter budgets, and the kind of noise that makes sleep optional. His mom hustled through tough jobs, his dad wasn't around, and the future didn't exactly look bright. But the kid had a secret weapon: timing. In his teens, he heard stand-up on the radio and thought, why not me? No classes, no mentors, just a mirror, a voice, and a gift for poking fun at himself until strangers were wiping tears of laughter from their eyes. By the late 60 seconds, he was working tiny New York clubs, smoky rooms, low pay, big dreams, chiseling a rhythm that felt like nobody else's. Then came the pivot that changed TV. In the early 70 seconds, America was cautiously making room for more black stories on prime time. Producer Norman Lear was building a new show about a working-class black family trying to make it through. When Jimmie Walker walked into that audition, still skinny as a pencil and wired with New York energy, he cracked Lear up. Instantly. The choice was made. He'd play J.J. Evans on Good Times. The show hit in 1974, and something wild happened. J.J. wasn't the lead at first, but a single line detonated across the country. Dy-no-mite. One shout, and it was everywhere: schoolyards, offices, living rooms, even the White House, where Gerald Ford reportedly heard it tossed around. Overnight, Jimmie Walker went from club comic to America's favorite cut-up. But fame can be a funny mirror. What millions adored, others worried about, especially the people playing JJ's parents. Esther, Rolle, and John Amos believed Good Times should spotlight the dignity and struggle of a black family surviving tough realities, not just punchlines. As JJ exploded in popularity, the balance tipped. Was he becoming a clown? A stereotype? Tension spiked on set. John Amos left the show in the mid-70 seconds, his character written out. Esther Rolle also stepped away for a time before returning. Fans saw smiles on screen, but felt a chill underneath. Rumors stuck to Jimmie Walker like static whispers of broken friendships, a cast divided, and a star protected by network brass. For decades, Jimmie barely addressed it. Then, at 78, he finally did. He didn't throw anyone under the bus. He didn't rewrite history. He said the quiet part out loud. Esther Rolle disliked how JJ was written, and no, they were never close. Not enemies, not buddies. Just two pros with different ideas about what the show should be. That honesty didn't erase the scars, but it made the story human, real. Sometimes, the laugh that pays the bills is the same one that fractures the family. Now, if the backstage drama made life complicated, Jimmie Walker's politics made it combust. While most black entertainers leaned left, he went the other way publicly. In 2012, he said he'd never voted for a Democrat. He praised Ronald Reagan, spoke positively about Donald Trump, and argued that certain policies like affirmative action had a time and place, but maybe that time had passed. On same-sex marriage, he took a "not for me, but I'm not fighting it if it's law" stance. To some, that was brave. To others, baffling. Hollywood isn't famous for rewarding contrarians. Invitations dwindled. Casting calls got quiet. And yet, he never flinched on camera. I live what I believe. What about his private life? Here's where the legend gets even more unusual. Jimmie Walker has been blunt for years. No wife, no kids, by choice. Tabloids had a field day linking him to Ann Coulter after comedian Norm Macdonald joked about it, but the people involved never really confirmed anything beyond friendship. The bigger headline isn't who he dated, it's that he stayed single because he wanted to. No shade, no scandal. He just didn't see himself as a husband or a dad, and he never apologized for it. Some call that lonely. He calls it honest. Career-wise, post-Good Times was a long road with bright flashes. He popped up in the 1980 hit Airplane and guest-starred across TV, little moments that still lit up rooms. But the main stage? That was stand-up. Clubs, casinos, small theaters, anywhere he could grab a mic and make the lights matter again. Was it the same as having millions watching at home? Of course not. But in those rooms, laughter is real and immediate. As he said in so many words, "If people still laugh, I still exist." Here's the part many folks miss. The man never stopped working. Past 70, he kept touring, sometimes teaming up with old friends like Lenny Clark for special gigs. He stepped into indie film projects, dropped in on documentaries, and talked openly about how political correctness changed comedy's guardrails and how he still finds the beats anyway. He's lived simply, moved where the work took him, and kept his life low gloss. No mega mansions, no fleets of cars, just the craft. And when he finally cracked the door on those old Good Times wounds, the story didn't come out angry. It came out reflective. Imagine carrying decades of hot takes about who you were, what you represented, who you hurt, then deciding, near 80, to say, "Here's the truth I can own." Esther Rolle cared deeply about representation. John Amos fought for dignity on screen. Jimmie Walker believed laughter could lift the weight, and the marketplace agreed, loudly. Those agendas collided on a hit show that meant the world to a generation. All of them were right about something. All of them paid a price. So, where does that leave the legacy? With a catchphrase that still pops up in comment sections. With debates that still spark in film classes and family rooms. With a reminder that one performer's breakout can tilt the entire ecosystem of a show. And with a man who, love him or criticize him, never pretended to be anyone else. He didn't chase the crowd. He faced it. He didn't form a family because the world expected it. He chose a different shape for his life. He wasn't trying to be a role model. He was trying to be Jimmie Walker. If you grew up on Good Times, you probably remember that voice, that grin, that explosive Dy-no-mite. If you met him in a club decades later, you saw a veteran who could still find the funny in a room of strangers. If you only know the headlines, you might think he's just controversy with a microphone. But the fuller picture is tougher and more interesting. A kid from the Bronx who outran the odds, rode a catchphrase into the stratosphere, and then spent a lifetime navigating the shadow it cast. Not perfect, not tragic, just human and stubbornly, defiantly himself. Now, quick gut check for you. Does a star owe the audience a version of themselves they can live with? Or does the audience owe the star the space to be complicated? No easy answers there. But here's one thing we can all agree on. Impact lasts. And for better or worse, Jimmie Walker made an impact that still echoes. If you want more deep dive stories like this, the messy truth behind the legends, stick around. Drop a like if this gave you a new angle, hit subscribe for the next breakdown, and tell me in the comments, what's your own first memory of J.J. Evans lighting up the screen?